What if I told you one of England's most hated queens was never a monster, but the master of the game? What if the darkest rumors ever told about a royal weren't just lies, but weapons? This isn't a fairy tale. This is the true, savage story of Isabella of France, the queen they called a witch, a demon, and worse. But what they didn't expect was that she'd become more powerful than any man who tried to destroy her. If you love powerful, untold stories from history, make sure to subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to uncover. Now, let's begin the story. The year is 1308. You're 13 years old. Your father is Philip IV of France, known as Philip the Fair, but there was nothing fair about him. He was feared across Europe. He crushed the Knights Templar. He bullied the Pope. He ruled France like a war machine. And now, you, his daughter, Isabella, are being shipped off to England, not for love, for politics. Your husband-to-be? Edward II of England, a king in name, but not in heart. From the moment you arrive, something is wrong. Edward is distant, dismissive, and when the wedding comes, it's not your hand he wants to hold. It's Piers Gaveston's, a nobleman from Gascony who's more than just a friend. Not only is Edward in love with another man, he's openly flaunting it. Piers Gaveston is showered with gifts, land, titles, and even wears your royal jewelry. The King of England is ruled not by his wife, not by his court, but by his lover. And you're a queen in name only, a political pawn in a foreign court. But Isabella doesn't break. She watches, learns, waits. Because beneath the silks and rosaries, Isabella of France is her father's daughter, and while the men of the English court see a girl, she is already planning how to burn their world to the ground. By 1315, the whispers begin. The court is uneasy. Isabella is too intelligent, too composed. She's not hiding in shame. She's asking questions, building alliances, learning English, making moves. And that makes people nervous. The nobles start to talk. Why is she always meeting with advisors in private? Why doesn't she spend time in prayer? Why does she care so much about politics? In medieval England, a smart woman is either a witch or worse. The gossip mutates into something darker, far darker. They say she performs rituals in the night, that she speaks to demons, that she walks among beasts in ways no woman should. And then, the final blow, they accuse her of bestiality. Yes, bestiality. The Queen of England, daughter of France, accused of sleeping with animals in the palace gardens. Now, this might sound insane to modern ears, but in 14th century England, this wasn't random gossip. This was psychological warfare, and it was brilliantly executed. Because in a world where women had no real voice, reputation was everything. And if you could convince the public that Isabella wasn't a woman, but a beast, a devil, a corrupt creature of lust, then nothing she said would ever matter. Who was behind this? A man named Hugh Despenser the Younger. After Gaveston's brutal death in 1312, Despenser replaced him as Edward's new favorite, and like Gaveston, he took the king's affection and the power that came with it. But Despenser saw something Gaveston didn't. He saw Isabella as a threat, not just as a queen, but as a political force. She was the daughter of France, she was intelligent, and she was quietly building support. So he struck first, but not with swords, with whispers. Despenser began to feed rumors to monks, scribes, nobles. The queen's been seen near the stables at night. Some say she keeps strange company. Of course, it's probably nothing. It wasn't just a smear. It was a masterpiece of medieval propaganda. Observant. And in the shadows of the French court, she meets someone. Roger Mortimer. An English lord turned fugitive. Charismatic, ruthless, and just as angry at Edward II as she is. Their connection is immediate. Some say it's romantic. Others say it's political. The truth? It's both. Because together, Isabella and Mortimer are about to do something no queen has ever done. Invade England. 1326. Minimized on the coast of Suffolk with Mortimer and a small force of mercenaries. The English nobles, sick of Edward's weakness and Despenser's cruelty, begin switching sides overnight. Towns surrender without a fight, armies join her cause, and just like that, the queen, once mocked, accused, and dismissed, becomes the most powerful force in the country. Edward II flees, Despenser is captured, and Isabella? She doesn't forgive. She doesn't forget. She has Despenser publicly executed in a way so brutal that even medieval chroniclers called it horrific beyond imagination. Edward II is imprisoned and quietly removed from the throne. His son, the young Prince Edward, is crowned Edward III, with Isabella ruling as regent. For 4 years, Isabella and Mortimer rule England. But ruling isn't the same as rising. The nobility begins to grumble, not because she's a woman, but because she won. Because she used her brain, her body, her alliances, and won. She had defeated her husband, her enemies, and the entire system meant to keep her quiet. But England doesn't forgive women for victories. Not like that. In 1330, her son Edward III, now 18, arrests Mortimer in a nighttime coup. Mortimer is executed for treason. Isabella is spared. Barely. She's sent into exile, not in a dungeon, but in luxury, a gilded cage. She never returns to power, but the smear campaign never ends. Chroniclers continue to call her the she-wolf. They say she was unnatural, perverse, demonic, and every generation after repeats it.
But let's be clear, that is zero evidence Isabella ever committed the crimes she was accused of. That rumors of her sexual deviance were invented by men who feared her. Miss Undercelestial brilliance was buried beneath lies. Until now. They called her a witch because she was smarter than the king. They called her a monster because she refused to be used. They called her the she-wolf of France. But in reality, Isabella was the architect of one of the boldest coups in English history. And her story reminds us, the most dangerous lies are the ones told about powerful women. After Isabella was exiled from power in 1330, history did something brutal. It rewrote her. Chroniclers, all male, all loyal to the kings who followed, painted her as a villain. The she-wolf of France, migrated, pregnancies. Even her lover, Mortimer, became a weapon in these stories, used to frame her as immoral, unfit, and power-hungry. Why? Because Isabella had done what no woman was supposed to do. She removed a king. She ruled a nation, and she did it without apology. So the backlash came hard and fast. But here's the question no one asked for centuries. What if Isabella wasn't the villain? What if she was the victim of one of history's greatest smear campaigns? Let's break the legend. The rumor. she had a twisted, scandalous relationship with Roger Mortimer. The reality, even if she did, why does it overshadow the fact that she orchestrated a successful coup in a time when women were supposed to be silent? The rumor, she murdered Edward II in a horrific manner. The reality, there's no solid proof Edward II was even murdered. Some records suggest he escaped, living out his life in exile. The rest is speculation, not evidence. The rumor, she was cruel, cold, and consumed by power. The reality, she was abandoned by her husband, cut off from her children, and publicly humiliated. Her rebellion was survival, not ambition. Isabella wasn't a monster. She was a mirror, reflecting the fear men had of women who knew how to win. Isabella lived the rest of her life quietly. No trial, no punishment, no execution, just distance. She spent her final years in comfort at Castle Rising. She died at 63, wearing the robes of a nun, peaceful, alone, and still misunderstood. Even today, most people only know her nickname, the She-Wolf of France. But here's what they don't teach in history books. She was a skilled diplomat. He staged a bloodless revolution. He ruled England and handed power peacefully to her son. How many kings can say the same? They turned a queen into a monster to protect a broken crown. But history doesn't forget. And now, we remember the truth. Isabella wasn't the she-wolf. She was the storm. Thank you for watching till the end. Your time means everything. Don't forget to subscribe for more untold history.